Yes, it has been a while since we last talked about the Lions outside of the draft previews, but I think now with the draft previews officially out of the way, with the draft about a week away, I think now is right now a good time to talk about what happened with the Lions free agency recap and the offseason recap so far heading into the draft. So anyway, yeah, this offseason, it was an offseason where the Lions are finally getting their shit together. Smells nice. So how will the great Detroit Masterplan continue on in this offseason? But before we talk about what happened with the offseason, we do have a couple NFL rules that came into play this year. So, of course, the first one was, of course, the controversial one, which is now Thursday night games can now have the option to be flexed to get better matchups for Thursday night football. It's been pretty controversial because a lot of teams feel like the NFL has already dictated too much with the options to flex Monday night games and Sunday night games. I mean, for fuck's sakes, it's a primetime game. Like, you want to have the best fucking teams on the primetime game. Plus, have you seen some of the Thursday night games last year with some very shit teams? You really want that late in the fucking season? Fuck no. Who the fuck wants to see a goddamn tank bowl in week fucking 15 anyway on Thursday night? Fuck that garbage. Like, if you want people to actually give a shit about Thursday night football and not be hyped up as some kind of, oh, it's a matchup between two shitty teams because somebody has to do it, then make sure you get the best fucking teams possible for Thursday night. So yeah, that comes in, but those flexes won't happen until like late in the season when playoff implications are at stake. And they'll give teams about a week's notice if they're going to be flexed or not, or about 2 weeks, at least 10 days notice if they're going to get flexed or not, Oh, there. And also the NFL, it's now approved a deal to where now you can wear the number 0 on your jerseys now. So now 0 is now an open number. It was at one point a retired number. Not anymore. Zeros are officially back in business. And of course, the final thing to keep note that was crucial was the NFL. There was a bunch of teams petitioning for a rule to have roughing the passer penalties be subject to review. In the end, the NFL declined it. So roughing the passer, it cannot be reviewed. To be perfectly honest, it's kind of for the best because if they reviewed roughing the passer, it would just end up being that whole pass interference review thing from a few years ago all over again, where it was just a massive clusterfuck and there was just so much inconsistency. Like, honestly, just having roughing the passer be reviewable, it just would have led to more issues and more inconsistency, and everyone calling the fucking officiating a joke. Not just Lions fans, nearly every fucking fan base. But yeah, that's kind of actually a good call not to review roughing the passers, because, just fuck, man. But anyway, with all that out of the way, let's jump right into Lions free agency. So, of course, for free agency, there were a few losses in the offseason. Of course, you had DJ Shark, who went to Carolina. You had Evan Brown, who went to Seattle. Deshaun Elliott went to Miami. You got Amani Oruwariye, his time's up. He left to New York. And then you had Mike Hughes go to Atlanta. And then for Michael Brockers, the Lions were talking about trading him, but when they couldn't find any value for him, they just effectively cut him to open up some cap space. And Brockers' future is yet to be determined. He's still in free agency. But yeah. So yeah, opening some space up because for the Lions, for the team players they re-signed, you had Alex Anzalone, Isaiah Bugs, John Kaminsky, and Will Harris all come back on cheap team-friendly deals. Even the Lions were even able to restructure Romeo Okwara's contract, so Okwara took a massive pay cut to stay with the Honolulu Blue. And of course, for the Lions for the offseason, the secondary needed a massive overhaul with how bad it was last year. So in the end, the Lions were able to bring in Cam Sutton from the Steelers, Emmanuel Moseley from the 49ers. Even though Mosley's had some health issues with the 49ers, maybe a fresh start will help get him back on track. And of course, the big piece of the secondary, C.J. Gardner-Johnson from the Eagles on a 1-year, $8 million prove-it deal. So yeah, that's going to be big there. And of course, the other thing that was kept an eye on was what would happen with Jamal Williams. Would the Lions re-sign him, or would Jamal walk? In the end, the Lions and Jamal, they could not end up coming with a deal. And with the Lions gave Jamal a deadline to meet the deal. Jamal did not meet the deadline. So in the end, the Lions decided that instead of just waiting back and settling for table scraps, the Lions went out there and got one of the top running backs available on the market, not named Saquon Barkley, since Saquon got franchise tag. So in the end, the Lions got a disgruntled running back from the Chicago Bears. David Montgomery Burns on a 3-year deal worth $18 million at an AAV of $6 million a year. So in the end, Jamal Williams would end up leaving. And the funny thing was, the contract the Lions gave David Montgomery, it was the same contract offer they gave to Jamal Williams. And Jamal declined because he found $6 million a year insulting for the season he had last year, when he was mainly a vulture with those 17 rushing TDs, because a majority of those rushing TDs Jamal had were in goal line situations. So in the end, Jamal would end up going on the market to look for more, thinking he could get more money on the market. In the end, Jamal settled for less, going to New Orleans. Yeah, let's be honest, Jamal Williams fucking played himself. He declined the Lions' offer because he found $6 million a year insulting and tried to chase more, and ended up having to settle for less with New Orleans. Because with New Orleans, he has an AAV at New Orleans for about $4 million a year, but he could become the number one back in New Orleans depending on what happens with Alvin Kamara and his legal issues, if Kamara is going to get suspended or not. Because Kamara was able to avoid suspension last year since his court cases kept getting pushed back 60 days. But will he get suspended or not? We'll let the NFL wheel of discipline decide that for him. But yeah, obviously David Montgomery didn't find that offer insulting. To be honest, Montgomery's an upgrade over Jamal Williams because Montgomery actually led the league in missed tackles last year. He also gave a lot of Lions fans fits the last couple years, but now for David Montgomery, he now is in the Honolulu Blue. He'll no longer give Lions fans fits. And the good news for Montgomery, he no longer has to worry about Aiden Hutchinson decapitating him on the field, like Hutchinson did to him in Week 10 with that clothesline from hell. And also now after years of splitting the running back carries with Justin Fields and being behind a shitty Bears O-line, David Montgomery now finally gets to be behind a real offensive line. And speaking of the offensive line, we would have some reunions because Graham Glasgow, remember Graham Glasgow, that guard that the Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn decided was dog shit and told him to fuck off? He's back now on a 1-year deal. To be honest, though, Graham Glasgow kind of feels like a shell of himself because he really didn't perform that well down in Denver. But, maybe him coming back to Detroit will help revitalize his career and get him back and help him bounce back. Maybe under the tutelage of Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes and company, they can get the absolute most out of him and get Graham Glasgow back to the level he was before he left Detroit a few years ago. The Lions also brought back Jalen Reeves-Maybin after he failed in a 1-year stint with the Texans. And then the big piece here. I think it was pretty clear after the game against Jacksonville, Marvin Jones wanted to be with the Lions. Originally, he was cut. He was let go to open up cap to kickstart the rebuild. But with the Lions being geared up potentially to win a division this year, the Lions decided to bring Marvin Jones back home. To be perfectly honest, I don't think Marvin Jones wanted to leave Detroit to begin with, but was kind of forced to and had no choice. But after 2 years in Jacksonville and having a bit of an altercation with Urban Meyer and Duval, Jones is back with the Lions, and Jones has announced that he will also be wearing number 0 for the season, becoming the first Lions player in over 60 years to wear numero 0. To be perfectly honest, I feel like, I think a lot of fans are going to like Marvin Jones back. Marvin was a fan favorite with the Lions. He was very entertaining. So, yeah. It's great to see Marvin Jones back in the Honolulu Blue again. Welcome back for your second go-around. And of course, the last piece for this offseason was going to be, in terms of free agency, is what do you do with Jeff Okudah? Because the Lions had to make a choice with Okudah. Are they going to try and keep things to work out with him? Or is this year going to be his last year? Well, in the end, the Lions decided neither. They decided last year was Okudah's last year. Because it was very obvious they weren't going to pick up the fifth-year option, and Okudah was going to be gone at the end of the year. So the Lions decide, screw waiting around till the deadline in October. Just get it over with now, while he still has some sort of trade value. Of course, the Lions originally were looking for a third-round pick for Okudah, but no one was willing to pay that price. Because Okudah's had issues staying healthy his entire career. And the 1 year he stayed healthy for the most part, which was last year, Okudah was very inconsistent. So in the end, Jeff Okudah was shipped off to Atlanta in exchange for a 5th-round pick in the 2023 draft, which will be the 139th pick in this draft. So now the Lions will have 4 picks in day 3, 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th. So now the Lions will enter this year's draft with 9 picks at their disposal, with 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th. So 9 picks total. And some tells me with this move that the Lions are up to something here, because that could potentially be a pick they could ship off to package away, to potentially trade up, because there have been some rumors that the Lions could potentially be a team that could trade up to 3 for maybe Will Anderson. I've been hearing those rumors around. I wouldn't doubt that one bit. I mean, we saw last year Brad Holmes trade up 20 spots from 32 to 12 last year to get Jameson Williams. So, yeah, I mean, we already know that. We also saw a couple years ago, Brad Holmes traded the 4th-round pick in 2022 away in 2021 to trade up to get Derek Barnes. Like, the Lions have shown they aren't afraid to trade up. Like, if Brad Holmes likes a player, he's going to do whatever it takes to get him. Kind of like Steve Yzerman with the Red Wings in a way. But yeah, and there's also potential the Lions could look at possibly trading up from 18 after that, if there's a player they want to go get. But yeah, some tells me with Okudah gone, this more than likely means that the Lions are going to be taking a corner with one of their 2 first-round picks. Either at 6 with, like, Devin Witherspoon, or maybe at 18 if a guy like a Joey Porter or Christian Gonzalez falls down there. Like, to be honest, I feel like if you're going to use the 18th pick to go get Porter or Gonzalez, you're going to have to trade up from 18 if you're going to have a chance at it. Because for Joey Porter, it's about a 50-50 chance if he falls to 18. Either he does or he doesn't. I mean, it all depends on who's on the board at number 6 for the Lions. Whether it's Jalen Carter or Will Anderson, if he's by some snowball chance in hell he falls down there, or even a Tyrone Wilson. All I say for the Lions is there's not really any players on there that would make me pissed other than fucking CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson. Like, the only QB I would consider taking at number 6 is Will Levis. But if the Lions take Anthony Richardson at 6, I am going to fucking flip shit. Because Richardson is a goddamn overrated bum. He fucking sucked in college. I don't know why the fuck he's in consideration for a top 10 pick. Like, honestly, I'd be better off taking a quarterback in day 2 or 3 of the draft. Because drafting a QB in the first round doesn't fucking guarantee anything. It's just high expectations. But yeah, that's all the Lions' big free agency moves this year and some draft talk there. Like, I'll talk more about the draft at the end of the video. But yeah, that's all that happened with the Lions free agency this year. Now, a couple other miscellaneous Lions things to announce was like, we had the big video that came out earlier this week with Rory from the Lions at Ford Field with a mystery box with a secret that would be revealed on Thursday. There was a lot of speculation of what this secret could be. Could it be potentially a leak to new uniforms? Could it be the brand new helmet design the Lions had? Could it be a brand new logo? What could have been in that box? Well, in the end, the mystery was revealed. And in the end, in the box, it was a bottle of Coca-Cola. as the Lions announced they have a partnership now with Coca-Cola and will be selling Coke products at Ford Field on game day. Well, all that hype up for it just for that. It's kind of like that hype they made for Aiden Hutchinson's Super Bowl commercial, where they hyped it up so much to find out who was behind that door. Oh, in the end, it was just part of a commercial to promote women's football. So yeah, all that hype, and yeah, that was kind of disappointing payoff. But the Lions did promise that new helmets are coming out this year in 2023. And in terms of new uniforms, the Lions said that they plan on having new uniforms coming in 2024. The rumor is for the uniforms is that it's supposed to be the throwback uniforms they've worn in the past. But it's going to be combined with elements from the 80s and 90s jerseys. And it's going to have the current Lions helmet and all that. So it's supposed to be a combination of the 80s and 90s uniforms and the throwbacks all into one. Sounds pretty interesting and might look pretty cool, you know. We'll come back to this topic next offseason when they reveal the uniforms. But 100% I imagine these uniforms are probably going to be revealed before the 2024 draft when the draft comes to Detroit next year. And yes, I do plan on going to the draft next year. And there will be a vlog coming for that draft experience. You better believe it. But yeah, that's all the other miscellaneous Lions stuff to talk about here. So of course, with all that said, you know, there's a lot of things there that have been talked about here. Of course, you know, we all know that currently as it stands, and these odds will probably change after the draft or not. But currently as it stands with the way the Lions have been or set themselves up for entering the 2023 season, the Lions currently are the odds-on favorite to win the NFC North. So yeah, the Lions are favored to win a division, which is something they haven't done for nearly 30 goddamn years. And every time we get reminded of that, it makes me fucking cringe. And just roll my eyes in disgust. Like, honestly, Lions just need to win a division so people can start shutting the fuck up and stop asking it. And of course, some Lions currently have the 4th best odds to win the NFC this year. Well, the only 3 teams that have better odds than the Lions being Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Dallas. Of course, Dallas is high up there because the Cowboys are fucking overrated as shit. And the Cowboys are overrated and they'll always get shoved down our fucking throats on a million fucking primetime games a year. So yeah, that's not really surprising the Cowboys have better odds than the Lions, because yeah, the league just likes to shove Dallas down everybody's throat. In terms of other stuff here, mainly the Lions are going to be the favorites to win the North because the Packers are no longer going to have Aaron Rodgers in the future. Since it's pretty much confirmed that the Rodgers is going to get traded to the New York Jets to continue, so Rodgers can go on his Brett Favre arc of his career. Which probably means within a year or two, he's going to end up on the Minnesota Vikings. And be back in the North once the Vikings realize that Kirk Cousins isn't the answer. And they throw Kirk Cousins out like a used condom. Yeah, that would sound about it. Honestly, I would be shocked if it takes a different route and he goes like to fucking Detroit or some shit. Because what's the financial gain of Rodgers coming to Detroit? It would just honestly give the fan base some fucking PTSD. But yeah, nothing really yet because the Packers and the Jets have been negotiating draft compensation and all that to trade Rodgers to the Jets, and they haven't agreed to a deal there. I've heard some rumors that the deal has already been finalized. It's just they're waiting until the night of the draft to announce the trade and make it official. So in other words, the Jets want to have Aaron Rodgers steal the fucking spotlight from all the young kids looking to get drafted this draft, and have night 1 of the 2023 NFL draft be all about Aaron Rodgers. So yeah, honestly, I don't know why the fuck they're waiting so goddamn long. Like, just fucking get it over with already, so we get this goddamn fucking nonsense already. But yeah, honestly though, and you know, the Vikings, they're going to take a massive step back. The Packers are going to finally be dog shit for the first time in forever. Like, let's be honest, Jordan Love is not the fucking answer. Like, the Packers with Rodgers gone, the Packers are going to go back to what they were before Brett Favre showed up to save them. they're going to go back to being the fucking doormat they were in the 70s and the 80s. The Vikings were a flash in the pan last year. They're going to take a massive step back this year. And the Chicago Bears, well, it's the Chicago Bears. They're garbage. They're garbage, and by the end of 2023, the Bears fan base is going to turn on Justin Fields. Just watch. But yeah, in terms of draft talk, well, for the pick 6, my draft board's pretty simple. Like obviously I want Jalen Carter or Will Anderson. I heard a lot of things from Brad Holmes' visit with Jalen Carter from what Brad Holmes said in his press conference. And that visit with Jalen Carter went well. So does that mean Jalen Carter could be in play at number 6? I mean, it all depends on what fucking Seattle does at 5. Like, Seattle at 5, because Seattle might take Jalen Carter. You know, it really depends on what Seattle does, if they're going to take Jalen Carter or Tyree Wilson. I mean, it'd be very shocking if Will Anderson falls to Seattle at 5 and Seattle passes on him. Like, 100% I'd be on board with Will Anderson. Hell, I'm on board with potentially trading up to 3 to go get Jalen Carter, to go get Will Anderson. I mean, it shouldn't really cost too much with the Cardinals because Arizona's looking to trade the 3rd pick. If Arizona doesn't trade that pick, though, I imagine they're going to take Will Anderson. I'd be surprised but I've heard some rumors about potentially Tyree Wilson going 3 to the Cardinals. I mean, it wouldn't be shocking if the Cardinals passed on Will Anderson because it's the Cardinals. They're a poorly run shit franchise. But yeah, I mean, it would be very shocking if the Seahawks passed on Will Anderson at 5 with Jalen Carter. Like, obviously, I'd be okay with Tyree Wilson. I'd be fine with taking Devin Witherspoon at 6. I think Witherspoon is the top corner in this draft. But I think with the way the Lions address the secondary with Cam Sutton, Mosley, and Gardner Johnson, they don't really need to take a corner at 6. It's just that they want to. But I'd be perfectly honest, I think they take a corner at fucking 18. But I wouldn't rule out 100%. There's been rumors about Bijan Robinson, the running back from Texas, that he could be in play for number 18. Because there's rumors that DeAndre Swift is probably going to get traded because he's had issues staying healthy. And running back happens to be the most expendable position in football. And it's all dictated based off of offensive line success and all that. Now, but I mean, a running back duo of Bijan Robinson and David Montgomery does sound tempting. I mean, DeAndre Swift isn't a bad running back, don't get me wrong. But every year with him, he's had issues staying healthy. Like, every year he's always getting banged up. And you can blame the Lions training staff and medical team for that all you want. But at the end of the day, not only are they kind of at fault for it, DeAndre Swift is also at fault for it too, for not taking care of his body off the field too. Like, with player injuries, everyone just blames the training staff or the medical staff and take the easy way out. But the player themselves are also responsible for it too. Because there's so much you can teach them and all techniques and ways to prevent getting injured. But if the players don't take advantage of it, then that's on them. If they're not taking care of their bodies on or off the field, that's on them too. It's not just the training staff and the medical personnel that are at fault for the injuries. The players themselves are also at fault too. Like, you gotta learn to take care of yourself too at the same time. But yeah, honestly though, the one player I'd be pissed at if we take at 6 is Anthony Richardson. I also say CJ Stroud too, but I feel like CJ Stroud's gonna go number 1, I think, to the Panthers, because for the Panthers, with them trading up to number 1 to get a QB, I think the Panthers are taking CJ Stroud. I think it's Stroud. I don't think it's Bryce Young. I think it's going to be CJ Stroud, and I think Bryce Young goes to Houston at number 2, because that was who Houston was tanking for to begin with. And at number 3, I think Arizona goes Will Anderson or Tyree Wilson. One of those two. It should be Will Anderson, but I wouldn't be surprised if they went Tyree Wilson, because Tyree might offers some upside, and he's been skyrocketing up the boards. Like, he could go number 3. Pick 4, I think it's going to be Will Levis to the Colts. And then pick 5, it goes a lot of different ways, you know. Like, really what the Lions do at 6, it's really dictated based on what Seattle does at 5. What they do there. But yeah, you know, it's going to be an interesting draft here. Like, this is going to be an interesting draft, and really what the Lions do could dictate. It's going to be dictated based on what Arizona and Seattle do, because I think it's pretty much expected that Carolina, Houston, and Indianapolis are going to take quarterbacks. I'd be fucking shocked if Indianapolis didn't go a quarterback at number 2, and that they went Will Anderson or some shit. I'd be fucking surprised if Houston went Will Anderson. Like, if Houston goes Will Anderson, then you know, Arizona goes like fucking Jalen Carter or Tyler Wilson, and then Seattle would go Jalen Carter at 5. I mean, if those 3 are down, and if you feel like you can get Devin Witherspoon at a lower pick, I want to be ruled out the trade down if Wilson, Anderson, and Carter are all gone. Like, if all 3 are gone, I want to rule out trading down. Because that means a QB like a Will Levis is going to be down to 6. You know, that could open the door for a QB-hungry team, because there have been rumors about Tennessee potentially trading up to get a QB because, well, Tennessee has no fucking choice. They need the quarterback. And I feel like if the Lions are going to trade down in this draft, I feel like it's more than likely going to be with Tennessee. Because Tennessee needs a quarterback and they have no fucking choice. Like, they got to do something because Malik Willis ain't it with the Titans. But yeah, a lot of things can happen at the draft. And then, you know, like, really for pick 6, I would say go Carter or Tyree Wilson. Or maybe Witherspoon. You know, whatever happens. And at pick 18, it could go a lot of different ways. You know, you could go Cajun Casey. You could go Brian Breesy. You could go Bijan Robinson. You could go Trenton Simpson. You could go either Gonzalez or Porter if one of those 2 fall. But I feel like if you're going to take either Gonzalez or Porter at 18 at that other first-round pick, you got to trade up from 18 to get a chance at them. You know, probably going to have to jump ahead of, like, Pittsburgh to get a chance at Joey Porter. And in the second round, I would say look at positions like guard and linebacker, you know. I would say look at maybe a guy like Jack Campbell. You know, Jack Campbell looks pretty solid, too, for guard. I would say probably Andrew Voorhees, because Grant Glasgow's only on a 1-year deal, and we don't know if he's going to be able to refine his form he had before he left Detroit or not. So, good to have a backup option in case Grant Glasgow flops again. And in the third round, I'd say get another player in the secondary, you know. Someone in that secondary, too. Like, to be honest, I could see the Lions take a QB in day 2. I could see him go for, like, in day 3 for a guy like a Max Duggan or a fucking Stanson Barnett, or even, hell, an Aiden O'Connell. You know, I want to be against Hendon Hooker if he falls to the second round, which I highly doubt that. I think Hendon Hooker's going to go to a QB-hungry team in the first round, no. But yeah, going to be a pretty interesting draft here. But hey, at least there's no drama. You thought we were going to end this recap with no drama, right? Well, no, because we have drama from fucking Shitoilet. Because Bears fans have been going after Lions fans the last few weeks. Because Bears fans are the only fan base that isn't buying into the brand new Lions hype. Because the Packers and Vikings have pretty much fan bases have accepted that the Lions are actually pretty solid and finally got their shit together. And Bears fans, being the absolute douchebags that they are, have said, no way, Jose. Look at your history. Yes, pulling out the history card because that works well for you. Like, I don't understand why Bears fans are talking so much shit. Like, didn't the Lions fucking sweep their asses into the pits of hell last year? How I remember the last time we played the Bears, we beat the absolute living shit out of them 41-10. And I know Bears fans will say for that game, oh, but we were rebuilding last year. Yeah, well, the Lions were rebuilding too last year too. So what the fuck's your excuse with your rebuild? Sit the fuck down. And of course, the drama was started by the Jackass Tribe. Of course, it was fucking Judah Tribe that helped kickstart this drama too. Him and Adam Rank. Because, yeah, Adam Rank also kicked off it too. And honestly, Adam Rank has no fucking business talking in here. Because didn't Adam Rank fucking predict the Bears to go 10-7 last year and make the playoffs? And at the same time, he also predicted the Lions to go 5-12 last year. Oh, by the way, how did both those predictions end up? Well, let's see. Lions went 9-8. Bears went 3-14. 2 big L's by Adam Rank because, yeah, well, let's be honest. Adam Rank fucking sucks ass with his schedule predictions. Like, almost every schedule prediction he does, he's badly wrong in a majority of them. And it's not surprising Adam Rank is sucking the Bears' dick so hard because he's a biased Chicago Bears fan. But yeah, all I say the Bears fan, you know what? I'm not even going to address the Bears drama here because you know what? The Chicago Bears are not worth my fucking time. That fan base, that group of fucking retards is not worth my fucking time. I am not wasting my time with Judah Tribe or any of them. You want my time so bad, you can wait till goddamn War Week. I ain't wasting my time with this shit. Like, I got bigger fish to fry than to deal with this crap again. Because you know what? If I deal with this crap again, all it's gonna be is just me making Judah Tribe into my bitch for the 1 millionth time, like I have. And especially since when I've been doing NHL and NBA and MLB trash talk videos. And now opens up more ways for me to break Judah Tribe and Shatoilet. Because, oh, Shatoilet, you think I have to trash talk only the Bears to get under your skin? No. You see, there are a million different ways I can break Shatoilet fans. And I showed that last year with Judah Tribe when I did trash talk videos on the Bulls and the Blackhawks. And I have something planned for baseball too. You'll have to tune in later to find out. But yeah, with me being able to do trash talk videos for the other three major sports leagues, it means I can break Judah Tribe and Shatoilet anytime I want. And anytime I feel like it. I don't have to break them now. I can let it play out, let them get it out of their system, and then strike when I feel like it. Because as far as I'm concerned, the Bears are fucking expendable. All I say to the Bears is, wake me up when you're finally out of the fucking basement. As far as I'm concerned, Chicago fans can get their ass back in the fucking basement and stay there. And relax, Judah. The NFC North basement is where you belong. And Judah, you better keep that basement clean, or we're gonna let Yasmin Green find out and have her come to Chicago and shove the broom so far up your fucking ass. Your fucking children will be born stupid. If someone is pathetic enough to foster your children for you. But anyway, I'm done with this shit. This offseason looks pretty good. I'm waiting to see what happens with the Lions of the draft. I do have draft reactions for sure. We'll be watching the draft. I will be doing reactions to both first-round picks and possibly both second-round picks and the third-round pick. But anyway, that does it here. I'm out of here. I'm out.